Hello, everyone. Breaking news coming live from the heart of Washington, D.C., as the iconic White House Grand Foyer has once again turned into a stage of significance and symbolism. The spotlight tonight is on the United States First Lady, Melania Trump, who has stepped forward to make a highly anticipated and emotionally charged announcement that has drawn attention from across the nation and around the world. The atmosphere here is filled with quiet anticipation. The chandeliers shimmer above the polished floors of the Grand Foyer, the flags of the United States standing tall behind the podium, and the press gathered in silence, cameras fixed, waiting for every word that could shape headlines for days to come. Melania Trump, dressed in her signature elegance, walks to the podium with calm confidence. Her presence commands the room, not with power politics, but with an aura of grace, dignity, and determination that has defined her role as First Lady throughout the years. As she begins to speak, her tone is firm but emotional, revealing a deep connection to her causes, her country, and the values she has stood by since entering the White House. In her announcement, Melania reflects on the journey that has brought her to this moment, a journey marked by resilience, advocacy, and a deep belief in the importance of family, kindness, and the future of America's youth. She speaks of her initiatives, especially the Be Best campaign, highlighting its ongoing impact on children and families around the world. The campaign, she reminds the nation, was never just a slogan. It was a movement built to inspire integrity, compassion, and responsibility in a generation facing unprecedented challenges. Melania's words echo through the hall as she emphasizes how digital well-being, online safety, and the mental health of children remain urgent priorities for the U.S. and the world. We must continue to teach our children, she says, that kindness, respect, and empathy are not weaknesses. They are strengths that define who we are as a nation. Her words strike a chord with parents, educators, and citizens watching live. But this is not just a reflection. It's an announcement that carries weight and change. In a moment that draws collective attention, Melania Trump confirms that she will be launching a new initiative focused on the next chapter of her humanitarian mission, an international foundation dedicated to supporting families and children affected by war, poverty, and social injustice. This foundation, she explains, will operate independently, but with full transparency and collaboration from American and global partners. She describes it as a continuation of service, not from the White House, but from the heart. The crowd reacts with quiet admiration as she lays out her vision for expanding American compassion beyond borders, echoing her long-held belief that leadership means extending hands, not building walls between humanity. As reporters capture every phrase, her voice steadies with emotion when she acknowledges the challenges of public life, the scrutiny faced, and the lessons learned from her years under the global lens. She thanks the American people for their trust, their criticism, and their faith in the institution of the First Lady. It has been an honor, she says, to serve this nation, to listen, to learn, and to love the people of this great country. Her acknowledgement of both supporters and critics feels sincere and unifying, a rare tone in a divided political climate. She then turns her focus toward the future, emphasizing the importance of unity and respect in an era of division. She calls on the media, educators, and policymakers to take responsibility for the messages sent to the next generation. The words we use matter, she says, pausing for a moment. What we teach our children will define the future of America. Her message is not political. It's moral, almost maternal, directed at every household watching across the nation. As the speech continues, Melania touches on her personal journey, from her childhood in Slovenia to her life as an American citizen and First Lady. She reflects on how her immigrant background gave her a unique perspective on the American dream, describing the United States as a land that gives opportunity to those who work, dream, and believe. Her story of determination resonates deeply with many who see in her journey the story of countless immigrants who found belonging and purpose in America. She expresses gratitude to her husband, former President Donald Trump, for his support and for giving her the platform to serve. She also thanks the White House staff, her advisors, and especially the children she met across the country, whose stories inspired her work. "Each child I met reminded me of the strength of this nation," she says. "They are the true reflection of America's future." The room fills with applause as she concludes the first part of her message, but it's clear that she is not done yet. The announcement, while emotional, sets the tone for something bigger. A message about renewal, resilience, and responsibility in the face of change. The press corps, government officials, and guests sense that the second part of her address will carry an even deeper meaning, perhaps about what comes next for the former First Lady, and how her legacy will continue beyond the political halls of Washington. The cameras stay fixed, the world stays tuned, and America listens closely as Melania Trump takes a short pause before continuing her defining message to the nation. Hello, everyone. Continuing our live coverage from the White House Grand Foyer, where First Lady Melania Trump's announcement has become one of the most talked-about moments of the evening. After a heartfelt reflection on her time as First Lady and her humanitarian vision, Melania now moves into a powerful and forward-looking message that expands her commitment to global unity, family strength, and cultural preservation. Her tone is composed yet impassioned, signaling that her work and influence are far from over. The audience stands silently as she begins the next part of her address, focusing on hope, compassion, and the evolving role of American leadership in a changing world. She begins by addressing the challenges facing families in modern society, the pressures of technology, the erosion of community, and the isolation that many face despite being more connected than ever. Melania emphasizes that true connection is not found in screens, but in hearts. She warns that a society losing touch with empathy risks losing its humanity. Her foundation, she explains, will not only provide financial aid, but also educational programs to rebuild emotional awareness, cultural respect, and the power of kindness in everyday life. She calls upon world leaders, corporate partners, and social organizations to come together in what she calls a human renaissance, a movement to remind the world that compassion is the strongest force we possess. Her announcement transitions to an appeal for unity across political and cultural divides. America must lead not just with strength, she declares, but with soul. Her words resonate across the hall, echoing a sentiment that leadership is not about dominance, but about example. She reminds the audience that the greatness of the United States has always been defined not only by power, but by generosity, innovation, and the willingness to help others rise. The applause grows as she states, "We cannot inspire the world by tearing each other down. We must lift one another up." It is a moment that feels both patriotic and deeply human, transcending partisanship and reaching into the moral fabric of what she believes America can be. Melania then pivots to the future of youth empowerment, highlighting new programs to teach children global awareness, respect for culture, and emotional intelligence. The next generation, she says, deserves a world that believes in them, listens to them, and prepares them for the challenges ahead. Her plan includes partnerships with schools, NGOs, and technology platforms to promote responsible innovation, ensuring that digital progress strengthens society rather than divides it. She speaks directly to young viewers watching live. You are not too young to make a difference. Believe in yourself, stay true to your values, and remember our kindness is strength. As her voice softens, Melania opens up about the emotional toll of public life, acknowledging that being in the spotlight brought both pride and pain. She admits that she has faced misunderstanding and criticism, but remains steadfast in her commitment to grace and integrity. "I chose to stay true to myself," she says. "In a world full of noise, I chose silence and action." The crowd reacts with deep respect, understanding the quiet strength behind her words. She then addresses her family, expressing heartfelt gratitude to her husband, her son Barron, and the American people who welcomed her into their homes and hearts. Every letter, every smile, every moment shared with you reminded me why this role mattered so much. As she approaches the conclusion of her address, Melania speaks of legacy. She insists that legacy is not about power or fame. It's about the difference one makes in the lives of others. She promises that her new foundation will continue to serve long after she leaves the White House and that she will dedicate herself to humanitarian causes that bring light to dark places. Her final words carry both humility and hope. My journey as your First Lady may be ending, but my service to humanity is only beginning. Together, let us build a future where every child feels seen, every voice is heard, and every person knows they matter. The hall erupts in applause. Some stand, some cheer, and others watch in emotional silence. As the cameras flash and the event concludes, the sense of history is unmistakable. This is not just another announcement. It is a symbolic handover from public office to public service, from the stage of politics to the heart of humanity. The press begins their analysis, calling it one of Melania Trump's most personal and defining moments. Commentators describe her message as a blend of reflection, resilience, and renewed purpose. As the evening light filters through the White House windows, the image of Melania Trump standing tall at the podium becomes an emblem of grace under pressure, lasting impression of a First Lady who chose dignity over drama and compassion over controversy. The story continues to ripple through social media and global headlines. Across television networks, analysts discuss how Melania's new foundation could influence global philanthropy and how her call for empathy and unity could reshape America's image abroad. In homes across the country, families reflect on her words about kindness, respect, and responsibility. It feels like the end of an era and the beginning of something new. A reminder that leadership can be gentle yet powerful, quiet yet transformative. The Grand Foyer returns to silence, but the message she delivered continues to echo far beyond those walls, resonating with a world that has watched, listened, and perhaps been moved to believe again in the strength of humanity.